2017 is 2 days away, which means the California legislature thought it was a perfect opportunity to make your life far more complicated and for them to be more invasive into our lives on a day-to-day basis, because that's apparently what they think they're supposed to do when I didn't vote for most of them, so don't blame me. I actually tried to get a lot of them out of office this year. But that's a different story, Rob Marenko. So joining me on the telephone right now, though, we have Dr. Wendy Patrick. She's an SDSU business lecturer and attorney to help us sort through some of these new laws. Wendy, happy Friday.
Ethan, happy Friday to you as well.
It's great to talk to you. I love talking to you, Wendy Patrick.
Likewise.
Let's start with this, though. So the roads are a disaster. They're a nightmare right now. You know, it's raining, so we all lose our minds. We already knew we weren't supposed to text and drive, even though I see so many people constantly doing that. But the legislature added to that list of what we're not supposed to do when we drive this year.
They did, and come 2017, hands-free means hands-free. It doesn't mean you're fiddling with a device, even if you're not texting, because we all know the dreaded DWT, driving while texting, has caused all sorts of traffic problems.
Yes.
But what we've seen in this last year is all those fancy, sexy traffic apps that so many drivers have downloaded. Well, guess what? You can't use them anymore unless you mount your phone on your dashboard and you use voice-activated controls. Now, this law is going to be much easier to enforce because you can't have your phone in your hand. It's going to be a lot easier for law enforcement to be able to catch people that are breaking this law. So let's all just mount those phones and figure out how to use that voice-activated software, and we'll all be able to drive a little safer.
And if you're lucky enough to have a phone with like the CarPlay feature, where you just plug your iPhone in and then it's like the car takes over and you can just talk to your phone. I actually like that, and I wish more people would pay attention to driving, which is why I look forward to our future robotic overlords taking over and we don't have to drive anymore.
Skynet.
Skynet is real, by the way. It is. So, but Wendy, there's another law I wanted to dive into with you. I got a message from Emily. I wanted to talk about this as well. So now, apparently, it is legal for when you go in to get your hair cut to have a beer or a wine. And as Emily pointed out, well, weren't they doing that before and now the state's just getting involved in it?
Beer at the barbershop, wine at the beauty salon. You bet. Only if it's free. And if you do choose to sit and sip, remember last call is at 10 p.m. But the answer to Emily's question is yes, they were doing this before. And not just at beauty salons and barbershops, but remember, this has been a complimentary feature of everything from limousines to hot air balloon rides. But now, as in other areas, we have legalized it formally. And as you mentioned earlier, we've imposed rules. So regardless of how different organizations and companies and businesses were serving beer and wine before, now they have limitations. It's got to be, unlike the comedy club with a 3-drink minimum, this is a 1-drink maximum of wine or beer without a liquor license, mind you, and it has to be 12 ounces of beer or 6 ounces of wine. So there are now more stringent rules governing what has been already a long-standing practice.
Well, really quick, though, on this one, Wendy, the 12 ounces of beer, are they regulating the alcohol content of the beer or wine in the law? Does it specifically go into and say maximum, 6% alcohol or something like that?
Not yet is the answer. But as you mentioned, we're a state of laws. 898 of them are going to go into effect in a couple of days. So come 2018, even I wouldn't be surprised if what you just mentioned is one of the new ones we're going to see next year.
So Wendy, when can we get a law? Maybe you and I have to work on an initiative, Wendy Patrick, Dr. Wendy Patrick, excuse me, that says every time the California legislature passes a new law, they have to find 2 really old ones to take off the books.
Great idea. Great idea.
They've got a sunset 2 in order to have the sun rise on 1. That's so true. I mean, New Year's is much more than champagne toasts and short-lived New Year's resolutions when it comes to what the kinds of laws our legislature is passing. Because remember, ignorance of the law is no excuse. So it's a good thing we live in a day and age where it's just too easy to Google what the new laws are, so you can't say, I didn't realize that law had changed.
Yeah, that's exactly right. All right. Well, Dr. Wendy Patrick, SDSU business lecturer and attorney. Wendy, what's your Twitter handle so people can follow you?
Oh, it's very easy. At Wendy Patrick, PhD.
At Wendy Patrick, PhD. Wendy, Happy New Year. Have a wonderful and safe holiday weekend, and we'll talk to you in 2017.